Would you let hundreds of dollars slip through your fingers? Massive price increases are looming, and most people are unprepared. We are breaking down the definitive list of 9 household staples you must grab now. Secure these essentials today before the new pricing takes effect and your local store raises its rates. By May 2nd, your grocery store is going to look different. Prices are jumping. Shelves are shifting. And if you're not ready, you're about to spend 30% more on things you're already buying. The May 2nd economic shift is here. New tariffs take effect. Supply chain costs spike. And within 72 hours, retailers are forced to pass those costs directly to you. The serious preppers are already moving. The question is, are you? Here are the 9 items that matter. Grab them now, before everyone else realizes the window is closing. Most people think about laundry detergent the moment they run out. It's not on any emergency prepper list. It doesn't make the news. And that's exactly why supply chain insiders have been quietly loading up on it since January. Here's what's actually happening. Chemical manufacturing taxes take effect May 2nd. Manufacturing costs for detergents are projected to see a 15 to 20% jump within the first month alone. The real story is what happens when millions of households suddenly realize they can't afford their regular detergent costs. They switch to budget brands. That demand shift creates a secondary shortage. Budget brands disappear first. Prices on everything else spike to fill the gap. High-density detergents are the key. They're concentrated formulas. One bottle does the work of 3 regular bottles. Most people don't know this exists because it's not marketed like regular detergent. Same cleaning power, fraction of the volume. I didn't think about this until my roommate mentioned it. She works in supply chain. She told me that laundry detergent moves differently than food. When prices spike on food, people panic and clean out shelves. With detergent, it's slower. People buy what they need. But the moment they realize the price jumped 15%, they switch brands. So what happens? Premium brands sit around. Budget brands disappear. And the concentrated versions, the ones that actually offer value, get scooped up by the people who understand the math. I bought 6 bottles of high-density detergent. Concentrated formula. Each bottle does 30 loads. So I've got 180 loads of laundry locked in at current prices. By May, a comparable quantity at the store will cost me probably $40 more. Maybe $50. What Bobo's pointing to is something called price transparency avoidance. Companies know that raising the headline price creates shock and customer loss. So instead, they quietly reformulate. Regular detergent becomes less concentrated. You get fewer loads per bottle. Same price on the label. But you're paying more per actual use. The concentrated versions bypass that trick entirely. You're buying the pure math. More cleaning power. Less volume. Better value. Most households go through 4 to 6 bottles of detergent per month. That's 48 to 72 bottles per year. At current prices, maybe $200. After May 2nd, probably $230 to $250 minimum. Stock 6 months of high density now, and you've locked in $100 plus in savings. Most emergency supplies focus on food and water. But there's a category that healthcare insiders have been quietly loading up on since tariff announcements started in March. Medical-grade first aid supplies. Here's the math. A basic first aid kit costs about $20 to $30. After May 2nd, the same kit will cost $35 to $45. Import tariffs on medical packaging and chemical ingredients are adding 18 to 22% to the base cost. But here's the part that matters. Emergency rooms don't have tariff problems. When you need medical attention, you pay whatever the hospital charges. The real insurance is having supplies at home so that small problems don't become emergency room visits. A cut treated immediately with proper antiseptic and sterile gauze heals clean. The same cut left untreated becomes infected. Suddenly you're sitting in an emergency room paying $2,000 for treatment that would have cost $5 in supplies at home.
I went through this last year. My daughter got a bad cut. I had a stocked first aid kit at home. Cleaned it properly. Dressed it with sterile gauze. Monitored it for infection. It healed perfectly. My sister had a similar cut. Didn't treat it properly at home. Waited too long. 3 days later, signs of infection. Had to go to urgent care. Cost her $350 after insurance. The difference wasn't medical skill. It was having the right supplies available right when they mattered. So I started stocking properly. Medical grade supplies. Not the cheap stuff. Actual sterile gauze. Actual antibiotic ointment. Actual thermometers that work. I spent maybe $150 on a comprehensive home medical kit. That same kit, purchased after May 2nd, would cost me $200 to $220. So I locked it in now. What Sarah's describing is called preventive medicine cost-benefit. $1 spent on prevention today saves $5 to $10 on treatment tomorrow. Medical-grade first aid supplies are medical prevention. They prevent small problems from becoming big problems. But if you wait until the price spike hits, you'll be buying supplies in panic mode, at inflated prices, probably missing the best options because stores are out of stock. Stock now. Medical grade. Real supplies. Professional supplies that stay stable for 5 to 7 years when stored properly.
Most people think of cleaning agents as interchangeable. Bleach. Disinfectant spray. All-purpose cleaner. They're all roughly the same, right? Wrong. Industrial strength cleaning agents are different. They're concentrated. They're formulated to work in conditions where regular cleaners fail. And because they're industrial, they're not subject to the same pricing pressures as consumer brands. Until they are. On May 2nd, the tariff structure changes on chemical imports. Industrial chemicals get reclassified. Suddenly they fall under new duty rates. Prices spike almost overnight. And the people who've already bought their year's supply are untouched. But here's the real value. Industrial strength cleaners last. A gallon of industrial bleach goes further than a bottle of consumer bleach. You dilute it. It lasts months. Maybe a year depending on how you use it. Most households don't stock cleaning supplies at all. They buy what they need when they need it. Which means they're always buying at the worst time. I grew up in a household where my mom stockpiled cleaning supplies. Not obsessively. Just methodically. Once a quarter, she'd buy a gallon of bleach, a gallon of disinfectant, some all-purpose cleaner concentrate. I thought it was excessive. Until I lived through a situation where cleaning supplies actually mattered. A health crisis hit. Suddenly everyone needed disinfectant. Store shelves emptied. Prices tripled on what was left. My mom's stockpile lasted our household 6 months without needing to buy anything. So I adopted the same approach. 1 gallon of bleach. 1 gallon of disinfectant concentrate. Some all-purpose cleaner concentrate. Everything diluted according to instructions. Cost me about $35. That same supply at a store next month will probably cost me $45 to $50. But more importantly, it's there. It works. It lasts. And it's not subject to panic pricing. What James is pointing to is called chemical stability. Industrial chemicals are stable. They don't degrade quickly. A gallon of bleach stored in a cool, dark place lasts years. Industrial disinfectant lasts even longer. Regular consumer-sized products in pretty bottles? Those are formulated to look nice, smell nice, and move quickly through retail. They degrade faster. The concentrations drop over time. Industrial concentrate is the opposite. It's formulated for longevity. For stability. For value. 1 gallon of industrial bleach is equivalent to maybe 8 bottles of consumer bleach. Cooking oil is in nearly every meal. But most people never think about it as something to prepare for. They buy a bottle when they need it. Use it. Buy another one. That's about to get expensive. Global harvest reports for the past 3 months show significant crop stress across major oil-producing regions. Canola, sunflower, soy, all facing pressure. Yields are down. Storage is tight. And the people in commodity markets have already priced this in. By May 2nd, the retail cost of cooking oil is projected to jump 18 to 24% depending on the type. Prices are already moving. But most consumers haven't noticed yet because the increase is happening gradually, store by store. But here's the part that hits different. Cooking oil doesn't go bad for years. A gallon of high-quality cooking oil stored in a cool, dark place stays good for 3 to 5 years. Some oils, like olive oil and avocado oil, last even longer. You're not just buying groceries when you buy oil now. You're locking in prices for a year or more of cooking.
I didn't realize how much oil I actually use until I started tracking it. My household goes through roughly 2 quarts of cooking oil per month. That's 6 quarts a year. 2.5 gallons. 2.5 gallons at current prices is about $25 to $30. After May 2nd, that same oil will probably cost $30 to $37. So I spent $80 and bought 4 gallons of good quality cooking oil. Olive oil, vegetable oil, and specialty oils. That's 1.5 years of my household's cooking oil locked in at current prices. In 6 months, I'll have saved $15 to $20 just from not buying at the new prices. By the end of the year, the savings are real. But there's something deeper than just the financial angle. Cooking oil is about food quality and household stability. Quality cooking oil makes food taste better. Cheaper oil, lower quality oil, affects flavor. It affects nutrition. It affects how willing your family is to eat the food you prepare. In a period of economic uncertainty, when everything feels chaotic, that consistency matters. The ability to make meals that taste good using the oil you already have stockpiled. That's a form of psychological stability that most people never think about. So you're not just buying oil. You're buying the ability to prepare good meals using your stored supplies.
Wheat prices have been rising for months. But most people don't notice until they buy flour or bread and think, wasn't this cheaper last month? It was. Global wheat production faced significant stress this year. Late frosts in major producing regions. Unusual weather patterns. Harvest yields are down. And that inventory tightness is translating directly to price pressure. On May 2nd, tariffs on grain imports take effect. Export restrictions kick in. And suddenly wheat products face 12 to 18% price increases across the board. But here's the strategic angle. Wheat products in dry form last indefinitely. Flour in sealed containers in cool, dry conditions lasts years. Pasta lasts years. Rice lasts years. You're not just buying food when you buy wheat products now. You're locking in prices for a year or more of the foundational carbohydrates your household runs on. Most households go through 5 to 10 pounds of flour per month. That's 60 to 120 pounds per year. At current prices, maybe $40 to $60. After May 2nd, probably $50 to $70.
I bake. I go through flour constantly. I realized I was buying 5-pound bags of flour every 2 weeks. Just constantly repurchasing. So I sat down and did the math. My household uses about 8 pounds of flour per month. That's 96 pounds per year. I bought 4 25-pound bags of all-purpose flour, 1 25-pound bag of whole wheat flour, and some specialty flours. Total cost, about $90. That's 1.5 years of flour locked in at current prices. After May 2nd, repurchasing that same flour would probably cost me $120 to $130. So I saved $30 to $40 before I even used the first bag. And I know that for the next 18 months, my flour costs are stable. What Zeynep's pointing to is something economists call price certainty. Most households have no certainty about food costs. They buy what they need when they need it. Prices fluctuate. Budgeting becomes guesswork. When you lock in staple prices by buying bulk before increases take effect, you're buying certainty. You know what your flour, pasta, and rice are going to cost for the next year. That certainty has value beyond the simple dollar savings. It stabilizes your household budget. It removes a variable from your planning. And it guarantees you have the ingredients you need to cook the meals your family likes. In times of economic uncertainty, that consistency matters.
Protein sources are where preparedness gets real. Fresh meat depends entirely on refrigeration. Frozen meat depends on freezer space. But canned proteins are stable. They last years. They require no special storage beyond a cool shelf. And they're about to get significantly more expensive. Canned fish, canned chicken, canned beef, all face price pressure from multiple angles. Fishing regulations are tightening. Meat processing costs are rising. Canned manufacturing is facing tariff pressure. By May 2nd, canned protein prices are projected to jump 10 to 16% across the board. Most people won't notice because they buy canned protein sporadically. But for anyone stocking seriously, this is a significant price window. A can of tuna costs you about $1.20 to $1.80 depending on quality. After May 2nd, that same can will cost you $1.35 to $2.10. But a household that stocks 100 cans of mixed protein now, before the increase, locks in that protein source for months. That's 3 to 4 months of consistent protein access at pre-tariff prices. I don't think about canned protein as emergency food. I think about it as reliable protein that I can use whenever I need it. In salads. In sandwiches. In quick meals when I don't have time to cook fresh. So I started tracking my household's canned protein consumption. We go through maybe 3 to 4 cans per week. That's 150 to 200 cans per year. At current prices, that's roughly $180 to $240. After May 2nd, the same amount will probably cost $200 to $280. So I spent $240 and bought 200 cans of mixed protein. Various types. Various quality levels. Enough for a year's supply. That locks in my protein costs at current prices. More importantly, it means I always have reliable protein available. I'm not dependent on the store having what I want or being able to afford the price when I need it. Canned protein is interesting because it's calorie efficient but also psychologically important. People don't like feeling dependent on others for food. Canned protein breaks that dependency. You have it. You can use it. You're not subject to supply disruptions or price spikes. That psychological stability is real. A household with a year's supply of canned protein feels more secure than one buying it month to month. Additionally, different canned proteins offer nutritional variety that fresh meat can't always match. Canned salmon has omega-3s. Canned oysters have zinc. Canned chicken is lean. The variety matters. Stock diverse canned proteins now. You're buying nutrition stability, psychological stability, and budget stability all at once. Paper products never make headline news. They don't trigger emergency supplies discussions. But they're about to get hit with a significant price increase. Chemical manufacturing taxes take effect May 2nd. Pulp and paper production becomes more expensive. Transportation costs factor in. Suddenly paper products face 12 to 18% price increases. Most households go through paper products constantly. Toilet paper. Paper towels. Napkins. Facial tissues. The consumption is steady. Unconscious. And completely vulnerable to price shock. A household with 4 people goes through roughly 12 rolls of toilet paper per week. That's 624 rolls per year. At current prices, maybe $150 to $200. After May 2nd, probably $170 to $240. That's $20 to $40 per year of increased expense. Across an entire decade, we're talking about $200 to $400 of additional spending for the same product. But here's the psychological angle. Paper products are about dignity and comfort. They're basic hygiene. In periods of economic pressure, people cut back. But they don't cut back on paper products. They just pay the higher price.
I never thought about paper products as something to prepare for until someone pointed out that paper is one of the first things people skimp on when money gets tight. That clicked for me. In a budget-conscious household, people reduce spending on everything. But they don't reduce spending on toilet paper. They just complain about the cost. So I started thinking about it differently. If I could buy my annual supply of paper products at current prices instead of paying inflated prices month to month, that's just smart budgeting. I bought a year's supply of toilet paper, paper towels, and facial tissues. Costco-sized packages. The bulk pricing was already good. And I locked in that price before the May 2nd increase. Cost me about $200 total. That same supply in May will probably cost me $240 to $250. More importantly, I don't have to worry about it. For the next year, I have paper products. Price increases don't affect me. Budget fluctuations don't affect me. I'm covered. Paper products are what economists call price inelastic demand. That means people buy roughly the same amount regardless of price. You can't use less toilet paper. You're going to buy it. Prices can go up 20% and you'll still buy it. Companies know this. That's why they feel comfortable passing cost increases directly to consumers. People complain but they still buy. The smart move is to buy in bulk before increases take effect. You're not changing your consumption. You're just timing your purchases better. A year's supply of paper products stored in a closet or pantry takes minimal space and solves a problem for 12 months.
Batteries are invisible until you need them. A flashlight won't work without them. A radio won't work without them. A thermostat won't work without them. And the moment you need them, the store is probably out of stock. This is the item that proves why timing matters in preparation. Batteries face unique tariff pressure. The raw materials come from specific countries. Manufacturing is concentrated in Asia. Supply chains are tight. On May 2nd, tariffs take effect on battery imports. Prices spike almost instantly. Most households never think about stocking batteries. They buy them sporadically. No consistency. No bulk buying. Which means they're always paying retail price at the worst moment. But serious preppers understand that batteries are infrastructure. They're the thing that keeps everything else functional. A stockpile of batteries is a stockpile of capability. By May 2nd, the window on all 9 of these items closes. Not dramatically. Just gradually. Prices move up. Supplies tighten. The people who acted before the deadline continue as normal. The people who wait suddenly find themselves paying more for the same products. You've been given the list. You've been given the reasoning. You've been given the window. The question is simple: are you going to act or wait? The serious preppers already know the answer. They're already moving. The question is whether you'll join them before May 2nd or whether you'll discover later that you waited too long. Here's what you need to do this week. Don't overwhelm yourself. Pick 3 items. Laundry detergent. First aid supplies. Cooking oil. Get those 3 this week. You've locked in prices. You've reduced variables from your household budget. Next week, pick 2 more. Paper products. Batteries. Add them to what you've already secured. The week after that, grab the final 4 if you can. Cleaning agents. Canned proteins. Wheat staples. Build it gradually. Build it smart. Build it before the crowd catches on. You don't need all 9 this week. You need to start. Pick 3. Commit to the action. The rest follows from momentum. By May 2nd, you're covered. By June, the people still buying at new prices will wonder why they waited. But you already know the answer. The window was open. You walked through it. That's the difference between being prepared and being caught unprepared. Which one are you going to be? Drop a comment below. Which item on this list is going to be your first purchase? I read every single one. And if this video opened your eyes about what's actually happening on May 2nd, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel reach families who are still unprepared and running out of time. Subscribe and hit the bell because next week I'm breaking down the hidden supply chain events that nobody's talking about but are going to hit your grocery store on exactly May 2nd. You don't want to miss that one. Stay prepared. Stay smart. Stay ahead of the crowd. I'll see you in the next video.